Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to do a little introduction, and I'm going to hand it off to my friend Casey and then Sandy to do all the really important, smart stuff, because that's not my expertise. So I wrote down what I wanted to say because I didn't want to forget. So good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. This is a very exciting opportunity to have us all come together and do some visioning and think about the possibilities for design at the Country Club Road. So first, I just wanted to share with everyone why this is so important to me and why I'm pushing this design contest here in Montpelier. Well, first of all, let me introduce myself because I think there's some folks here that don't know me. My name is Adrienne Gill. I am a city councilor for the city of Montpelier, District 1. I'm also a resident of Montpelier. My family lives here. I have 2 kids, a husband. This is where I live. This is where my family thrives. And my mom is here supporting me. It's a big family event. And my sister lives in town. And we love Montpelier. So that is why I'm so passionate about this and why I want this project to be as successful as it possibly can. So thinking about why this is important to me besides that, really my interest in the connection between design and health started in the early 2000s. So this is when I discovered public health. At that time, I was living in Atlanta, and I became connected with the CDC, which is the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, their environmental health division, which focused on healthy by design initiatives. So Atlanta, during the early 2000s, was going through a big transformational development recreation. There was a huge, large brownfield site in the middle of the city, and I was very fascinated by this huge empty spot in the middle of the city. And I worked with the CDC, and we talked about design, and they were trying to connect it to this bike path in this city, which is a huge urban area in Atlanta. And so I watched them design this, this community, which was all about health, incorporating movement and walkability, and they turned this brownfield site into what is now called Atlantic Station. And so this is a walkable, live, work, play community. So I saw how that thoughtful design could transform not just that land, but people's daily lives, and it was truly inspiring to me. And so as I pursued my master's in public health, I became even more interested in the design of how communities impact our health. So I had the opportunity to lead Georgia's statewide Safe Routes to School program, which helped communities build infrastructure. And I worked with all the communities in Georgia to help them figure out ways to have our children in that state bike and walk to school safely. And so it was very important for me to have that opportunity because when kids move in the morning, when they move in the afternoon, they're much better academically. And so that was a huge part of my life. And I saw that that infrastructure design helped enforce healthy living. And so later throughout my career, I consulted with an organization called the Blue Zones. The founder is Dave Buettner, and he is the gentleman that traveled the entire world and studied communities where people live to be 100 years old and beyond. And it was fascinating to me. And out of those communities, there was a very common theme, and it was very, very simple. Natural movement, access to healthy food, strong community connections, and environments that make healthy choices easy and a part of everyday life. So that experience has shaped my belief that design matters, so that when we design communities with intention, we design healthier, stronger, more connected lives for all of us. And here in Montpelier, I truly believe we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to look at this Country Club Road property. So I want us to imagine a neighborhood where neighbors know each other, where they have shared community space. They have access to locally grown food, access to childcare, access to healthcare, which is it's close to their home. They don't have to get in a car to go anywhere. It is safe, it is walkable, there's bikeable streets, and it doesn't make our communities dependent on cars. So, the original White and Burke design process gave us a strong foundation of data and community input. I've heard, why are we doing this now? We already did this. And so tonight, I want us to build on that. And I want us to layer in health as a core value, something that we lift up as central to the vision for this community. Together, we can expand on what's already been learned. And I, as a city councilor, want to bring this back to the city council as just additional ideas. And I want there to be possibilities that reflect these values and the visions of Montpelier residents. So my hope is that through this process, we can design a neighborhood that not only meets today's needs, but also reflects the future that we want to build. And this is a place that fosters connection, well-being, and resilience for generations to come. So with that, I'm going to build off this with my very, very good friend, Casey Nava, who is going to share her inspirational views about this property.
Thanks, Adrienne. Thanks for having me. Good evening. I don't know many of you here. My name is Casey Kolb-Nava. I am a physician. I practice in internal medicine. I work at Central Vermont Medical Center, just up the hill. I'm a Montpelier resident. Couple comments here that I want to share with you guys. I want to say, in my practice every day, I see patients who have the good fortune to be aging well. They're living with connection, they have purpose, there's joy in their life, and their health is better for it. And I also see patients who don't have that in their lives. And it's really spurred my interest in how community planning can play a huge role in preventative medicine, longevity, wellness, okay? So that's why I'm here. So I want to underscore this by saying that Montpelier, Vermont, the heart of the Green Mountain State, already has everything that it takes to become one of the healthiest places to live, not just in New England, but the world. We really do, okay? And I want you to imagine and begin building a neighborhood that's inspired by blue zones, places of wellness and longevity. Places like Okinawa, Sardinia, Palo Alto, those are known blue zones, where people live not just longer, but better lives. So Montpelier's already halfway there. We walk and bike. We eat fresh, local, plant-based foods from our farms just down the street. We know our neighbors. We show up for each other. We breathe clean air. We hike through forests. We take the time to slow down. These are all tenets of a healthy, vibrant community. And these are the seeds of a blue zone, and they're already here. So what if we take this to the next level with this exercise? So we think of a neighborhood, a couple of key things that are in my brain for this neighborhood, that fills this missing middle housing shortage, that allows people that want to live in a certain size home to stay in Montpelier and be close to their friends and family. That allows for different generations to exist in this neighborhood. Public spaces that encourage spontaneous connection and movement, where finding your purpose is intrinsic in this space. It's as supported as it would be in finding your job. Where health is something that you're living. So this isn't a dream. This is something we can do together. Again, to underscore what Adrienne said, a walkable, connected, age-friendly, plant-slanted, purpose-driven, community-powered neighborhood. That's already Montpelier, and that's what we want this neighborhood to be and to uphold even greater. We don't need to wait. It doesn't need to be luck for happiness, wellness, connectivity, longevity to fall in our laps. You can design it, and we can be the next blue zone. So thank you for hearing my comments. And I hope we can invite people to a healthy, thriving, meaningful life in this neighborhood we're going to think about. Thanks.
I'm gonna, if I can move this back, is that all right? So I can man the. Well, this is good because then I can, if people can hear me okay. My name's Sandy Vitztum, and those were great introductions. The only thing I would add I am the third of 5 generations in Montpelier, or Vermont, the grandsons of a Burlington kid. My goal is to create a place for my great-grandchildren. I hope Montpelier is thriving 100 years from now. And I would like to add to those very important goals some economic and social goals of how important it is that Montpelier is a place for all ages. And that I have seen that when people of all ages live together, they make each other stronger. My gym teacher, Miss Brewer, was in her 80s, and my kids were close friends with her just because we live next door to each other. She adored them. She would look at them out the window. She would make pies for them. That's the kind of community that I hope for my children and grandchildren. The other thing is economic. We are experiencing a terrible housing shift. And if we can make a focus of making homes for people with all backgrounds and all economic situations, that would be amazing. Some people will focus more on that than others, and that is fine. If your focus is on gardens or nature, recreational trails, sports, that is wonderful. And add that voice to the whole chorus that we're going to develop in the next 7 weeks. But the housing one is a special focus for me. The other thing I want to point out is the importance of our green list. I've been working in Plainfield where the floods have destroyed 11% of the green list. Floods are destroying our green list. It's important to think economically about this as an investment for the town as well. We can't do all of these things, but we can each with our own voice try to help balance them. And I think that the final results on October 31st will be really exciting. We've got a middle school series of 5 weeks working on this, 8 kids. And we just locked in today. Brian, who's very kindly cutting with one pair of scissors. The high school's also going to do a session. And we're going to try to do one at the senior center. So there will be further opportunities. So our goal is good ideas, variety, depth, strengthening our community overall. Anybody can enter. Here are some examples, because a lot of people don't know what the heck we're talking about doing. So we're starting with a site plan, but it can go anywhere from there. Everybody's going to have a different way of trying to add their voice to this conversation. So this is from a charrette we did in Plainfield. We actually started with pieces of tofu, and we went to wooden blocks. You can use anything at this scale. At this scale, the end of a matchstick is perfect to be one house. These 200 scale color drawings that you're looking at, that's how large a small house is. So I encourage people to be creative. You can use masking tape, you can use daubs of glue. This is some examples of people who do this for a living, and I don't want people to be intimidated by professional renderings. We are hoping to get some professional renderings, and Norwich University has just joined in. There will be people from all over that are professionals, and those will be helpful too. Some people prefer to work 3-dimensionally, and the middle school is actually making a 3-dimensional contour model. We're going to talk shortly about contours tonight. Who is not familiar with what a contour model is? Well, you're going to cover that. So some people like to just smear clay all over their contour models or even have it be flat, but clay is a heck of a lot of fun. Here are 2 quilts. They may not be architecturally accurate, but who cares if they start to convey the feeling that someone wants to share. And my son has made a Minecraft model. We can try to run it. He sent it over on his computer. But you can fly around and you can go in and you can work at any scale. Minecraft is it's actually used all over the world for urban design. And each block is a meter because it was invented by a European. And you can go in and you can build houses. So my son Augie has set up the soccer fields that we're requiring and little house blocks. And you can take them and you can pop them into the plan. And we're hoping to organize a workshop just for that in the coming couple weeks. And the high school and the junior high school kids are really excited about this. But the model, I could show you later if you're interested, but it's fully interactive, and you can fly around or you can go on the ground. And again, you can go meter by meter saying what you want, and it grows things. The ferns grow, and the animals start running around. It kind of feels like Eden, but. So our timeline we're still working on, but we're going to have 2 site tours, and we'd like to encourage the public to do that, to get familiar with the site. It is really hard to go from a piece of paper to the ground, but it is a fun challenge. And the number of ravines on the field on the actual ground do help us orient. And I think that the Minecraft model will help people who are interested in that. So I wanted to go over the base map. If you could pull out the 18 by 24 color one. Can you hold that up, Adrian? This one. This is the one we're going to primarily work with tonight. There are plenty of smaller drawings, and there are plenty of large black and white drawings there, so you can play with whatever scale you feel like. We've tried to make this pretty clear for people. There are, if you look on the design, the contest materials, the map that I just showed you is the top one, base map with layers. Brian, our webmaster, has made 2 kind of more sophisticated PDFs. And then there's a CAD file and there's a Revit file. The Revit is the 3-dimensional file. But getting used to this plan, anything that's light green on the map itself is places you cannot put a house. Or you can cross it with a road, but there will be a trade-off financially for the city called a wetland, it's compensation. So those are wetland buffers, and there's steep slopes. Anything that's light green, you want to leave alone. You can make paths through it, however you want, especially on the steep slopes. But the yellow, the light creamy color yellow, is a moderate slope area. That means houses can go there and roads can go there, but if you put a road straight up and down the hill, then it will be a little too steep for an emergency vehicle. So in the yellow areas, you want to kind of run parallel with the contour lines or diagonal. And now we're going to talk about what a contour line is. Can you see the kind of curvy lines that mark? They're all over the plan. And what they mark is, if you could walk on the ground, they mark a level line around the hill. And when you put a bunch of them together, the hill kind of grows up or grows down or goes downhill. So it's called an iso line. It's all one elevation on that flat line. So in steeper areas, I don't have a pointer, but in steeper areas, the lines are very close together. And flat areas, you won't see any lines because it's relatively flat.
So,
Thank you.
like this is.
That's really flat.
That's really steep.
Right. And so one important thing is we've made a commit. Yeah, Joe.
On the contour lines, is that a 50-foot difference between an elevation between the lines, or is it 20 foot?
Our contour lines on this drawing are 10-foot contours. So the soccer fields are an important element to keep. You can disregard that when you make a design if you wish. It's not a law. But our goal is to accommodate the rec department who does need soccer fields. And so I'm rating required on the map. There are 3 U8 fields, and I'll talk about this in a few more minutes, and then there's a U10 and a U12 field, and you'll see this. Oh gosh, Brian cut them out. They're little tiny rectangles, green rectangles. Those are at the same scale as the 200 map, the 18 by 24 map. So you want to pick 3 of these little guys and one of the other 2 sizes, and you can see they could be put next to each other, or you just think about if you were a kid playing soccer on here. There's a bigger those are for bigger kids, and there are more children on each team. So you see, you could have one big field that can get subdivided, but these are and the other thing that's really important is that they not cross too many contour lines. As Brian pointed out to me, it could cross 1 contour line, but it shouldn't cross 2, because that would mean that the field is sloping 10 feet over the length. You have to have really strong legs to succeed playing soccer on a steep slope. So it's a priority in my mind to put the soccer fields in the flat area. If the land is white on the map, that just means it's a relatively low slope and you can do anything you want there. Steve wanted me to point out that a good share of this land was prime ag soil. It has been significantly modified as a golf course over time. I have made the executive decision to not show them on the map to try to keep things simple. What will happen in real life is that prime ag soil has to be compensated if you build on it. So again, we can put this up later, but green means please do not put houses there and really minimize your roads. Moderate slopes, low slopes. I've meant to also add about connecting outside of the site. So there are little red arrows on the perimeter of your site. Can everybody see the little, they're my pink, like light pink arrows. Those are places that have been identified as possible ways out of the site to tie into the rest of Montpelier. There's actually one more, which I just realized we forgot. So on this far side, right off here, there's a good way up towards Town Hill Road. So we'll have to add that on, but over here, you could cross through these wetlands and get over here.
How about over to Gallison Hill Road?
Gallison Hill Road, that is a really good point. Another architect and I have been looking at that. There's a really good way that would actually solve some of the circulation issues to come up off of Gallison Hill Road and come through here. This is someone else's land, Pat Malone's land, and we felt a little awkward showing things over someone else's land who hadn't offered us to do that. So, but the reality is, and I would say you can do what you want, but there is a pretty good way up, kind of. This will be, so here's a good way to get towards Town Hill Road, and there are some good ways to get up here. Although this has all been developed, which is why it didn't feel too good to go too far into that. Okay. Oh. So on the bottom of the drawings, you'll see there's a toolkit. And the soccer fields are drawn at scale. So one thing you can always do if you're at home, and we'll put these colored blocks up online, but you can just trace them anyhow, and then start drawing them on, transfer them onto the site plan. I included some house sizes. At this scale, they're all almost kind of the same size. So we're, for tonight, we have little grids. We're just going to call it a house. It's actually, this grid is 1/8 of an inch square, and it's actually the size of a 2-car garage, 600 square feet. And if you do too deep, they make a good apartment building or row house. We'll go into that more later. Oh, and I wanted to give you folks a sense of the lots. A 1/20 of an acre may seem quite small, but it's not highly unusual, and it's a good way to bring the cost of housing down. This ties into the unofficial housing survey I did, which I passed out. If anyone came late, you may not have a copy of that, and I'm happy to give it to you. There is zoning for the site. In a way, these designs are going to be used to inform zoning, so you could suggest something and then maybe we can change the zoning rules to fit it. I think it's really important not to be limited by zoning, but some people will want to follow that. So there is a link, and you can also Google it, and I'm happy to help if you email me. There's been a study on stormwater and traffic and other utilities, which has come out now, but it's still not generally available. And I guess what we're going to assume is that we can support 300 houses on this site. If housing is your priority, you can do 300 houses, or units, dwelling units. I quickly wanted to do, we're gonna try to end this in about 5 minutes, so there's over an hour to design. I don't know if I can get there, but I'm gonna try. So I wanted to share some principles that planners follow when we make communities. So I'm getting back to what Casey and Adrian described, and how do you start to make that place? So one quality of many great places to live is that they're gathering spaces. So it's not just a complete even plain as far as you can see of private lots. There are places that kind of expand urban life. Everybody here is probably familiar with the Scotches, the Pocket Park on Summer Street, right? And how welcome that is. Another one is on Harrison Street, Harrison Ave. Is it Ave or Street, Brian? Ave, Harrison Ave. The State House lawn is a really large, grand public space. And they don't have to have buildings. They don't have to be rectangular. They could be any shape. Typically, the longer or the more irregular they are, the more casual they feel. And the more geometric they are, the more civic, like, fancy they feel. If you've ever seen a picture of Piazza Navona in Rome, it has a shape. So this picture's actually in Bulgaria, and the streets are medieval. They're really narrow, and they just made it into a pedestrian zone, and it's incredibly packed with people. These spaces often have something marking them, and the reason is when you're anywhere in the neighborhood, you can see them in the distance. Montpelier is marked with how many steeples? Is it 5 or 4? Plus the city hall, plus the courthouse, plus the state capitol, right? So one cool thing about Montpelier is you can see our steeples from far away as you're coming down over a hill. Like my children used to cry when we came back home, and they would see our little valley, and they would be so happy to be home. And our steeples make that, and you can go anywhere in town and you can navigate by the steeples. That's an important architectural principle. But it can be a simple thing. It could be a really big oak tree. It could be something called a stele or an obelisk, like Washington Monument. It can be anything. It could be a street light that's really large, I guess. Defined edges are another important part of a neighborhood. I live in the Loomis Street neighborhood, and Main Street is my edge mentally. Like when I've crossed Main Street, I know I'm not in my own neighborhood anymore. So sometimes it's a big street. Often it's a big street. Sometimes it's a stream. Elm Street neighborhood is defined by North Branch, really pretty closely, right? And then the Franklin Street is also defined by North Branch. And when you're on the edge, it can be fun to climb up and kind of look over, or it can be like a protective edge. The protective edge in this village is the hill going up behind, and we have that in Montpelier as well, where Hubbard Park is protecting us. It's an edge. Paths are really important, and they can be combined with public places. And emphasizing pedestrian paths or bike paths, really important. I wanted to briefly talk about scale. Really large buildings make us feel smaller as humans, and smaller buildings make us feel big. This is from Oak Bluffs near Cape Cod, which is all tiny houses. It's really cool. And we have a lovely scale of bigger houses in Montpelier. They tend to be multifamily. So anywhere in there, but be careful think about scale. If you can pretend you're walking down the path that you're drawing, that's really helpful. Couple quick design principles. If double loaded streets, if you're going to have houses on both sides of the street, it's the most efficient way to deliver utilities to the properties. Putting houses together and kind of trying to keep lots lawns narrow is another way to be efficient. And see how this development uses pedestrian walkways. They can get their utilities through there. I'm going to very quickly do some community buildings to get you thinking. The old schoolhouses in Vermont, or even just little town halls, daycares, shared office space could be it could be a house-sized building that lets a lot of people share, like Zoom or meeting areas. When you have a really small house, 1 or 2 bedrooms, it's really hard for multiple people to conduct business inside the house. We have good bakeries in town. Why not think about more? There used to be a lot of corner stores, we used to call them. I think about Miss Daly's on Loomis Street. And we don't have so many anymore. And that part of that is the whole difficult economic, the supply chain for stores. But coming up with something like that could be great. Could sell ice cream. Laundries, in a small house neighborhood, a laundry can be critical. So let me just make sure. Oh, yep. Okay, well, that's the end. So we're going to start right now on, if people want to see, while people are drawing, I'll try to set up the interactive thing for the Minecraft in case anyone's interested. But let's get started. So our biggest problem tonight is I thought I packed more scissors, and we have 1 pair of scissors. So you could just take some of the little sample pieces and just draw on. But what we're going to do is we're going to start by, each person here is going to come up with some of the keywords that you've heard tonight. Let me see, what are some of the keywords you mentioned, the things that you would like to see happen, Adrienne?
So from my perspective, when we think about values, I want to incorporate health into our design. So walkability, bikeability, access to neighbors, community center, access to food, healthcare, childcare, what else? Natural movement.
It's going to feel normal to just go
Yeah.
walk around.
Ooh.
It's going to be really normal and easy to run into your neighbors and have social connections. Or there's, like, the Feast Farm is a really great example.
Oh, yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I was trying to find you.
Oh, sorry about
Yeah.
that. I'll repeat myself, but I think the room did hear me. Places where you're naturally going to be moving, so natural movement, natural connections. You're going to bump into your neighbor. You're going to see them on their front porch. opportunity for personal gardening space. That's kind of a classic, natural, easy movement, even if it's window boxes or a little front garden. A place that can give you purpose. So like the Feast Farm is actually, it's really kind of cool that this is already kind of a feature of this, but that's a place where if you're looking for a purpose, what can I do to help? You've got it right in this neighborhood. Things like that are going to inspire social connection. Thanks.
So, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try this. How do you get it out?
I have no idea. Oh my God. I know what my strengths are. That's not one of them.
I'm gonna. We're back on. What is one feeling, or you can think of an adjective or a noun? What would, if you were, or someone you loved was going to live in this new community, what would be your key thing that you're looking for in it? If you or someone you love is going to live in this new community, what would be a key word, a key feeling, adjective or noun of what you'd like to see there?
The first thing I think about is an intentional community. Intentional.
Okay, perfect. Okay, Steve. You got prime agriculture or any of your other issues?
Walk to work.
Walk. Okay, walk to work.
Bakery?
Bakery, yay! Pellin.
Okay, I love, we have so many trees and everything, but sometimes I feel very closed in them. So I want to see like open areas and possibly a pond or some kind of water.
Open areas, ponds, water. Would you like to join us? Awesome. You could sit anywhere. Pellin's here. Sal?
I'd like to see more common wall structures.
Common wall structures.
Yeah.
So houses that share walls. Oh, that's perfect. I didn't get to show my really good common wall picture. Joe?
Nothing right now.
Drawing up a blank. It's okay.
I like the fact that I walk 2 miles through 3 neighborhoods in my area, and I cut a path with my car that gave me the mileage. So I understand what you're trying to say, create walking lanes. You could do your walking right up there. And I also have a garden on my deck because I built on my rails wide things that I can put the boxes in, and the deer can't get them.
So small gardens and being able to walk through neighborhoods when you're exercising.
Freedom and unity.
There we go.
So you have a refuge when you need one and a place to socialize and mix when you're ready to get out there.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Phil.
I'd just like to make sure this includes some senior housing. I was involved with a downsizing group, and for years I've thought if we could get places like that for people to downsize, then their houses open up for others in town.
That was actually a key demographic in this housing survey, that there are a large number of people who really want to downsize. Okay.
Vibrancy and art.
Awesome. Vibrancy and art. And vibrancy of all sorts?
Yes. Plants, vibrant plants, and artwork. Yeah, and people.
And that would encourage creativity and feeling alive. Okay.
I will say wildlife corridors and connectivity with the rest of the city.
Yes. Thank you. Brian.
I was gonna say that as well. I think it should have there should be strong connectivity to Montpelier, to the downtown. And maybe another concept or idea I could leave folks with is Montpelier itself as a verb or adjective, an extension of the town rather than another place.
That's really interesting. Okay. So extending what's already successful. How about you?
I'm sorry, what's the charge?
The question is, if you or someone you love were going to live up here, what would be the key thing or what feeling that you would try to create here? Noun or adjective? Or?
Pass.
Okay.
Social connection. Probably.
Social connection. A social connection. Now you're jumping in right. Okay. Well, thank you. All right. So what I'm going to do is ask everybody to just close your eyes for a couple minutes, and you can change your words, you can zero in on it, but just think about what you would like to accomplish. And as you're thinking about that, really focus in on it and then try to place it on some land and actually go there and look around. Like, what does it look like? Are there any houses in sight? What's on the ground? What are people doing? Are there roads in sight? Paths? So really just rest into it for a couple minutes and let it get lively. And when you're finished, if you could just write down a couple of words so that you, like reminders for yourself, because those will be your measures. Okay, now what we're going to do is start, you can jump into this in one of three ways or another way. So we have our first way would be thinking about things from nature. So gardens, trees, forests, paths, soccer fields, anything that's either natural or it's human-made. Another way into this would to actually be thinking about a public space. When you were imagining, were you thinking about a public space? And that can become the germ of a whole community design. And then another way to think about it is just a street. And I wish I'd had more street pictures up there, but like, where is a street that you've been through, or did you visualize a street? So if you can start with that, then you can start sketching it out on your drawing. And if you're at a table with other people, which most are, you can work together, or if you prefer to work on your own, you can work on your own. So I've got one extra 20. Oh yeah, there, we could circulate that around because.
It's on all the tables.
Oh, good, good. There's a good inventory there. Does anybody want to have their own 18 by 24? This group is, you've only got one. Let's give this one to you, but someone could grab it if they want to. Yeah, the small ones are fine too, but the 18 by 24 size, which is this one, is what everything else is scaled to. And we're going to bring around some things. So, and there's larger ones. If you are feeling constrained by a small piece of paper, you can have as many of these larger ones as you want. All right, so what you want to start doing is thinking about this first area and put it somewhere on the paper, anywhere. It's just a hypothesis. And then start connecting out, thinking about this balance of the three things we talked about. And the fourth part is paths or roads in between. So take your pencil, and we have tracing paper. A lot of people feel nervous about drawing on their piece of paper. So we have a lot of tracing paper that you can just rip off, and then you can draw to your heart's content and get see-through to the drawing underneath. So if you want tracing paper, you do that. And we have really big erasers. If you want to try pencil, you can just rub it all off. And then we're going to start passing out. Bless your soul, Brian. Brian was supposed to talk, and I just talked right through his part because he was doing such a good job cutting. So I'm going to pass around. We have these little fields. So these are the little kid fields. These are the bigger kid fields. And there's an 18 and a 10. So those are the 4-size soccer fields. And then we have lots. So on the lots, the lime green up at the top, I would call a tiny lot. And we have laid them out in other groups, and you can take a little house, and you'll see that it fits fine on the little lot. There's not room for a garage on these little lots, unless the house is above the garage. Then we get to 1/10 of an acre right here, the orange ones, and those will easily fit a garage and a smallish house. By smallish house, I mean somewhere from 600 to 800 square feet. Actually, over 1,000 square feet will easily fit. 1/10 of an acre is a 4,000 square foot lot. And then these are 1/5 of an acres, and we're starting to get into very common lot sizes in Montpelier. And then the purple ones at the bottom are 1/4 of an acre lot. So they're all over the place in Montpelier. So when you go to Barrie, you see more of the 1/20 of an acre to 1/10 of an acre. But so I'll take over. Brian's gonna be doing the design. It's my turn to start cutting. And then we have the house. What do you have over there?
We got about all the fields are cut out, and maybe a good number of the lots as well for folks to work with. So we're just going to leave them here, and you can come get them.
Okay, or we'll pass them out, and then I'm going to start cutting the little house box. So honestly, the size of a 2-car garage, which is 600 square feet, is one of these little blocks. That's how big the land is. I mean, it's shocking how big the land is. So I'm going to start cutting some of these up, and we'll drop these off next. But you can also just use, we'll get a couple of these to every table so you have a sense, and you can also just use a little box, or, well, we don't have anything to cut the matchsticks. But, all right. So, and then what you want to do is just move things around. Have fun moving them around. And then at the end of this, we're not expecting anybody to be finished a design tonight. This is just introducing you to how to think about it. And Brian and I are going to go from table to table to help people get started. This is a starting point. This is like an intro. We're going to actually have a workshop later if you want to come back and do more detail. But yeah, if you start getting to the point where you're sure about something, feel free to use the glue or the tape. By the way, I do need everything back so that we can have other workshops. And a lot of the scales were my father's, and I don't want to lose them. So if you could just leave all the equipment on the table when you're done. But you can use tape, you can use glue, you can use anything you want to stick things down when you're sure. But have fun. Oh, one more point I forgot. Oh, the markers all went out. The width of a road is the narrow point of these markers. I don't know where the wide markers went. But if towards the end of the time, if you want to actually draw a road on, that on our maps is the width of a 20-foot or 20, I think it's 22-foot road. So that's a 2-lane road. Our maps are very small. Yeah, on this 18, you don't have that. Okay, so we're going to start circulating around, and I'm going to start cutting these house blocks. And can you circulate around too? Great. Okay. Does anyone have any questions up front? about how to get started? No? Okay. Well,
What if they want to take the map home and finish it?
oh, yeah, you guys can all have any map you see that you want, just take. Yeah, you can submit it, or we can print you off more. Yeah. We do, well, I hope that people will make designs. But what you can do is you can take the nice one home and keep it clean if you feel like it. We have a second 18 by 24 went over to that table. But we'll make sure you get what you want. Okay, I'm gonna put this, can I put this down? I'm gonna put this down. Okay.
In Montpelier?
Culture to be busing. It's over here.
And this is an 18. So we're hoping for 3 of them.
Yeah, it's traffic.
There you go. Okay.
Right now, there's one road. So that's like the stuff.
Thank you so much.
I think that's part of it, right? Like, is there a market space?
It's usually silent when I'm sitting there.
I was raised in I saved the Fox Theater. Literally, I've got a picture of me as a teenager holding a T-shirt out there selling Save the Fox Theater.
Yeah, I don't know the answer. I'm not a designer, but I think that's what we have to figure out, right? I know. That's a lot.
Well, it's also well thought out. I spent a lot of time. You know, what are the walk to work opportunities? How do you manage?
Where are the cross-country ski trails? Are they gonna just ignore them? I know. The cross-country ski trails. Yeah, there's woods. I see woods, I don't see trails. The people who ski up there every winter should be here fighting for their space. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it's like only once we get the
I think the thing is, how's it going to be funded? Where do they get the money to make this happen? And in every all the cities who have made it happen, there's been somebody who's donated the houses, and they've been containers, and they've been structures that you can put up in 3 hours. You know, like it's like modulars that just kind of get put up. I think this is too much of an undertaking to build structures. I mean, huh?
Well, that's where these shows are right now.
300 houses. Oh, yeah. I think it's like,
and we don't know what this is here.
it would be nice, like.
Oh, this isn't part of it.
And have like, my mind, like,
Okay, so this isn't part of that. Okay, gotcha.
well,
Yeah.
And the seniors need to be somewhere close to the lunchroom and
Like you can have like an urgent care here. Yes. And then you have your bike pads, you have like little like rows with like all grass, all parking is kind of off to the side. I mean, I think the parking should be not a center feature.
I ran that like
Yes, the golf cart would be nice. They had those in Atlanta. Imagine? There's people driving golf carts all over the What city is that? Peachtree City is a golf cart convention. Look up Peachtree City. It is an entire town designed around golf carts. It is. We wanted to move there, but it was too far outside the city because I liked living in the city. I didn't want to live in the suburbs. I moved to Vermont. I'm like,
market is necessary for the housing.
have that housing.
And senior housing could be both market rate and low to moderate. And tiny housing could be the entry home starter house.
But it could be, in my mind, how I see this, it could be, it's diversified from the whole property.
I don't think there's any reason we couldn't put some of these tiny houses out into the woods, but we were told all the woods is off limits.
I think, do you want some? I don't think it's off limits.
Let me.
Like when I walk the property, I envision little houses, like up on the little hills, like little clusters of homes.
Yeah, it's like density everything.
Yeah.
The closer things are together, the more efficient the infrastructure. But for things to kind of grow and expand, right? Sure, you could put houses out here, but are they kind of off the grid now? You know? I mean,
Right, do we bury electric? No, we bury electric. Nobody's ever talked about
I
it.
think this shading didn't come out quite as with this much contrast, but you can kind of see that there are some areas that you're pointing out that
Something that
maybe
could be
are flat.
put together in like 3 or 4 hours.
So I think that that's.
Well, that's what most cities do, they do containers.
But if we,
I saw one city that did refurbished school buses. It's a clever idea.
There's no reason why.
So the ski trail though is a different issue. What I was told, and there's also this
That's a good way to take a building. So I don't think it's not quite so black and white as far as. But yeah.
all of those things
Folks
should we assume all these electrics are going to be underground?
I think that'd be nice. But look at the street in Montpelier. I mean, I started using those. We don't have electric underground.
Do they not, so what is it just parking in Vermont?
It's more costly. But maintaining poles through storms and cutting the trees back to protect the lines.
Oh, I know, I never understood
The
that.
utility companies are starting to incentivize it.
To go under? I know they should.
But
It's about resilience for them.
To have the electric be underground. That's right.
it's required now? Okay. So you're designing, say, this with underground all.
So I would love for this road to come up and be like a town center where you have all your stores, grocery stores, your medical buildings, child care here. Like, I think this is a valuable piece of property. And I think that right now, I think this is this no? Where is the soccer field?
That's
There needs to be another entrance too.
I made the point.
They can't have just one entrance. That's dangerous.
This is going to be
This is a
traffic.
hill. Yeah, this goes up the hill.
Future careers of kids who walk out.
Well, that's
It might erode too much. There are other places. That's true, right?
So this is what Sal does. Sal wants these to be soccer. Because it's the flattest part of the property. But this is where they want to put apartments.
So they're only doing soccer, they're not going to do baseball or softball?
Have you been up to country club road? No.
Why did they pick soccer? I'm just curious.
Because that's how the rules.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You can't put.
Well, I think there's not as many soccer players as there are baseball players.
Oh, yeah, soccer's there. I mean, this place is packed on That is.
I'd rather have food, this be the breadbasket to feed downtown in an emergency disaster scene. I'd rather preserve some of the prime ag soils than to devote them to sports if there's other places we could put sports. Because I don't think the buses coming up and down here full of soccer kids is gonna match with the. If we have to spend $10 million to get it on the road, you've just made the housing affordable.
Whatever the budget number is.
Right, they're already saying $9 million for this. And then another 20, another 20, change the grade. They're even proposing one sidewalk instead of two, which is not convinced.
This should definitely have two sidewalks.
Well, you should have spoke up last
Well, I have no idea what they're talking about. I was like, we need to come back.
It's a lot of streets.
Do you know who Susan? I met her there.
No, but complete streets.
I do. Sue Becker. Yep. Sorry.
Sidewalk.
She worked in the emergency.
But this may be an exceptional property where we're connecting to a bike, a multi-use path that might be allowed and welcome through Dorsey.
Are you the owner of this property? Nice to meet you. Heard your name come.
I think the super highway ruining the quietness of the neighborhood they plan to build is a non-starter.
Yes, I will agree with you. I never really preferred this route for larger
My
roads.
research says it could be $20 to $50 million to build a road out there.
Yeah, we have, I'm not sure if this will be of interest to you guys here, but just to spread the word, we started including contours on other parts of the site, here, everything around it. So if folks were starting to explore what that looked like, it just doesn't feel like it's totally flat, right, to your point. It's like, okay, well, actually, we're going to have to come up and kind of switch back a little bit.
I think designing in cooperation with Sabins and then sequencing because they are ready to start a whole lot sooner than we are.
Yeah.
So I think that we ought to basically, especially if we're talking about a path where an electric shuttle could take people to town and minimize the car traffic. This is a deal breaker here. This road. Single road.
I agree, and I've always.
Where's the existing road that's already paved that goes up there?
It's right down by Agway.
Yeah. So why are they building a new road?
Well, no. This one has to be rebuilt.
This is
With all that
here.
density, it's not going to be able to handle from a certain.
Not only that, for the snow plows to get up there in the winter, they're going to have to stop and put chains here. And then the kids are going to be coming down with their parents and slide into the ditch. So it was a mistake to put Turtle Island
If they can get up Main Street, they can get up that.
But they're willing to host Turtle Island, build a campus for Turtle Island down on Sabins, which is a much better location.
Well, I don't know. I'll let you guys think about that. I think the point about different paths is there are options, including what Sandy mentioned.
They're going to build it on Sabin pastures? No. That'll never happen.
I'm saying that they are going to develop a couple hundred homes on Sabins.
It hasn't been zoned for that, has it?
He called me last night when I got home.
They tried to get a commercial zoning for it, and that didn't work, so I'd be surprised if they put houses in there.
A lot of it's already designed.
Probably was, to me, the worst, most embarrassing meeting since I've gotten back on.
Like on here.
You're thinking, you're skeptical. I understand you're being skeptical.
I don't know, because I haven't seen it. And it's,
You just listening, David, or you going to participate?
if you guys have So Doug, if you were doing a single house, these are single houses.
Sorry.
And you can see how they could fit. And a garage.
Why? I don't know
It
how
could
she
be
does
there.
it. I'm going,
So, and
why?
a duplex,
She said she was
like a
going to
row
do it. I said,
house.
Are you crazy? Yeah.
Duplex could look like this. Just a whole bunch of these things lined up. That's a standard duplex size. Actually, it's a little large. It's just the project.
I agree.
So if you actually get to the point, you can just glue these down, and that could be a design.
No, I'm out of there. Once looking.
So an apartment building might
everybody's
be too
scattered.
wide and like 8
Dave
long
Kelly
or
was
something
our
like
agent.
that. A quad, this could be actually a quad. Especially, we're not showing if it's 2 stories high or not. But that could easily be a quad.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you some more in case you want to take these home with you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
A homeless person's house would look like this. That's a little small. But a lot of them are 12 by 20, like that. They're like really small.
You can stay by me, walk over.
Yeah. There's a couple towns in Vermont that are making, and there's a big community in New Hampshire and Maine that are making homeless people communities, and they're just like, they're lined right up like this. They're so small.
You never
They're like
know.
so small.
You never know.
This is huge. I mean, 600 square feet, 2 tiny houses
Wow.
could fit in there easily.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm going to go around and just give people a couple of these to get them started. Right here. Yeah. I'm thrilled that you're doing this stuff.
Pick your brain. Yeah.
She was the first one to do that, and I've never forgotten that.
Wow.
We became close and we worked together.
Tell me your name again.
Jim Sherry.
Okay, hi. Lee, we'll check. Yeah. Wonderful.
Come over and say hi.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. I'm concerned about the money. There's no reason.
Project on citizen satisfaction, and the data was coming from 100 different local municipalities. 3 things make them satisfied where they live. One is employment, if they can work. Second is public transportation accessibility, right? If we are thinking, oh, I want to go and use this, what if I don't have a car? I live in downtown, there should be some kind of transportation. And the third one is open spaces, like parks,
like a little
like
piazza.
walking tracks, not only like something to eat, but just like I can go there and just like sit and enjoy the open
There was
space.
one in this, there was this, I printed these out. I gave all different examples, but there was one in here that where was it? It had like, well, one I like this because everyone's out in their front yard, everyone's having dinner together. So that's community, but where was that one? Where was it? There was one that had like a little center.
I was talking about the little developments that we looked at. There was that one in Peterborough.
Oh, yeah, Peterborough, yeah.
Oh, yes.
The common housing, that
Yeah,
was
the
really
co-housing, that was really cool.
Yeah, so I need to go.
Okay.
You encourage me, so I text
Oh my
you,
God.
tell me
Well, thanks
talk.
for coming. You should bring one of these maps and play with it.
Well, I
did watch last night.
was never able to clean my house.
I have to say this, because if I don't.
I don't know why.
a place in Petaluma
But anyway,
Yeah, that place in Petaluma was nice. Nice little village.
with a
It was
little
a good
houses
discussion, I
and
guess.
a
And they had the
central
front
area.
porch, an email, and I thought, shall we get going?
Sure.
What's
well,
Jim
it's the one on
Condos?
the corner. Cool, does he own that? He was my landlord for 20 years. As I said, yeah, well,
And if you see the names, you will understand.
We're taking off.
It's like a power.
It just would have been, yeah, interesting. All right, good seeing you. Yeah, we'll see you soon, and
Are you all heading out?
He's got a meeting to go to. Yeah, it's a
So I hope that's a good start for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good. This is a very long building, though. I don't.
Yeah, it's a super long building. Phil, I'm giving you.
I'll be very good. It's crazy. I don't know how you do that. Okay, so still rec center's questionable. Childcare allows people to work there, go to walk from their home to their shop and drop the kids off at the childcare. So I think that's essential. You know, maybe not as big as Turtle Island, maybe not 100 students, but, right? Yeah, I don't know. Then these are the different types of housing. Tiny housing, low moderate income, senior, and market rate. And soft housing, I describe as a platform with no plumbing. It's basically a homeless person's temporary shelter. They walk to get showers and toilets. But they're becoming part of the community. They can work in the fields. They can clean up trash. They can actually build emergency housing shop. They can build emergency housing for other cities around the state. Right? That gives them an incentive to stay sober, wake up at 7 in the morning, get showered, and be at work at 8. Right? And earn money while you're learning a trade. You know? I'm a firm. Actually, I experienced that stuff in my teenage years, and so having the confidence of the skill set that I earned has carried me well. And so I want other guys to have that opportunity. So not everybody knows that. So motor pool, greenhouses go with Feast Farm, right? That's the agriculture part. Yes. A recording studio? I don't mean huge. I mean a place where musicians can not have to drive to town. Montpelier doesn't even have a recording studio. It did. Billingsley used to have Cliff Street or something, not Cliff. Up near the college. Yes. Just down west, the corner. Anyway, I took classes from them.
I didn't realize.
So this is the resiliency part. Shelter and storage for the next flood. Our police can dispatch from up there, or whoever. And we've got cots and blankets and inflatable privacy shields, whatever it takes. I don't think people should lay on cots smelling each other's feet. The shower trailers go with the soft shelters, right? I don't know about solar generation. We don't. It's nice to generate some power, but we may not have enough space.
That's right. It takes up room.
Yep. Soccer fields, I think, do not fit with the traffic constraint of this road. I just think we don't want to be bussing and making that much noise and pollution. And there are other places to put soccer fields.
Yes.
Swim center is a luxury for exercise.
Yeah.
But you can take the electric shuttle through your property to wherever. Maybe the swimming pool can go down on Sabin's pasture. Let's put it in that hole. Just kidding. So anyway, it looks like most of this could fit. It's the question of how many of these, right? How many of these, and where are they? And that takes an expert beyond my skill set to locate them. And because somebody has to understand the road layout, the electric layout, the proximity. If people are going to invest even $100,000, which is probably the bottom that anybody can afford, or that anybody, the bottom price of affordable, they expect some privacy. They don't want to hear pickleball day in and day out. So we could, the existing shops could go to 2 stories with co-working space above the wood shop, for instance, right? IT, the maintenance garage, that's a garage, right? That's who maintains all the buildings. The retail, not a lot of retail, but the bakery and the grocery. Whether the bakery should be abutting or co-located with the cafeteria might be 2 different things. You might have a backup kitchen, a prep kitchen, use one. Big events, they're both enlisted. Small events, they can do different things.
It'll be interesting.
So, everybody seems willing to throw the prime ag soils overboard, but I would like to see us cluster around a farm, you know? Clusters around fields that people are working at and that are bringing sustenance. And play in the snow. It's a playground.
The other thing is they should really test those soils to see.
They've already tested them. There's brownfields. I don't know how much has to be removed. There's a workshop coming up on that. So the Regional Planning Commission has already determined that there's contamination. And I started asking how much due diligence was done before we decided to put Turtle Island up there on the toxic soils. And now the city says, we need $120 from you if you want those records, because it's going to take us time to find them. I'm like, oh yeah? So it looks like most of it can fit. The question is, who's got the talent to tuck it in nicely? That's not my. I think we ought to plan to hire a landscape architect team to fit all this together. See, I argued last night. I don't think you were listening. Last night.
At what point? After VHB?
I think it was before. Before VHB was
the church.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think it was VHB. I commented then. I said we cannot afford. Actually, my public comments at the beginning, I can send you a copy of it. Those were crafted to kind of a wake-up call to council. The council should be sponsoring these workshops towards a master plan that the council buys into, agrees that it's going to abide by and implement what the city arrives at. And they're like, we're taking all our clues from Mike Miller.
That's one voice.
Well, that's the one that's carrying the weight. I may have emailed it to Alan. But the type of talent it takes to know, what's it called, the program? How many square feet does this take? How many square feet does this take? How many square feet does this take? The guy who had managed the wood shop at U32, he was done there. I think he's retired from it. He wants to start. I'm like, perfect. I got a project for you. Let's build some emergency houses for the unhoused and train some people to be safer on power tools.
There's not enough on here at this point. We need more constraints before you really go forward with the planning.
We need to map the constraints, right? You know, because right now it's like, oh, put anything wherever you want, and I'm like, no. That's why I know it's out of my skill set. A road designer would know
exactly
how you could or couldn't reach all these areas.
And maybe